Hey, this is Mike with DFTV Network. Got my host of the Porch, but for you guys who know who the real, not the other one, but the real. Can I get a drum roll? The fly with the tie.
Yeah.
I'm calling the fly tie. That's my version of being, cool, so I'm through with that now. So what's going on with you, brother? How's it going?
It's going great, man. How you doing?
Doing good. This is my makeshift version of the Porch, so I hope you like it, but
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
it is what it is,
Flyest porch I've been on.
Since it was raining, I figured we'd do it indoors,
Yeah.
But I'm glad you took the offer to be the host of the Porch on the new DFTV Network, joining forces with the Big Pen,
Exactly, man. It's a pleasure.
30.8.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, for those who don't know you, we know your real name is Fly and your last name is Ty, but so let me tell them what you want to know about yourself before I hit you with all the the investigative questions,
Yeah, however, Fly Tie is a great nickname. Real name is Tyrone Welch. I am a product of Alabama State University.
Alabama? My bad, I'm sorry, I got choked.
Yeah, the Alabama State University, man.
Is that the Crimson Tides?
No,
the other Alabama.
That'd be the Hornets.
Oh,
Yes.
I never heard of them.
That'd be the Hornets. Historically black college.
There you go.
So,
That's that other word you told me the other time we did the commercial, the HBCU.
Yes.
Say you remembered it.
yes. I have to hold it down for the HBCUs whenever anybody else doesn't, I will.
There you go.
All right, and I'm an even prouder native of Pensacola, Florida. That's why I originally come from.
We have a number of Deuce from there too, ain't we?
Yeah, that would be Emmett Smith.
Oh,
The king of the city.
The all-time
Yeah.
leading rusher from where? Come on, work with me. Don't be a haterade.
He played in Dallas.
Yep. We got them
Dallas.
Cowboys. Although we are 0-100 right now, but we all right. We're still going to the Super Bowl.
Give him credit. It's 2-98.
Two.
Give him more credit than that, man. It's 2-98 right now.
Right. But it's just they is what they is,
Yeah.
But I'm still a diehard fan. So you're from Alabama,
Pensacola, Florida.
Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah.
Went to school now. How did you go from Pensacola, Florida to Alabama to go to school?
Well, can we cut it real quick?
Alrighty, we had the little technical difficulty, but hey, we're back on the porch.
Yeah.
And as everybody know, I'm bad with names. So just like I called a guy one time, what was his name? David or something, but I called him with Bob or something, and he answered. So we had a technical break here, and let me be politically correct. It is called
Pensacola, Florida.
And for those who know me for the last 50 years, they know I call everything wrong. So it's Pensacola, Florida.
Pensacola, Florida.
And then how did you go from Pensacola, Pensacola, Florida to Alabama?
Actually, it's a funny story. It's a long story, but I'm gonna take the short version. As I was going to high school, coming up through my young age, I actually wanted to go to FAMU. However, the way I ended up at Alabama State was just a chance encounter. It came to a certain point where I was at a certain point where I wanted to be my own person, but at the same time still get a great education. And then just by happy chance, I filled out an application for Alabama State for extra credit in English class, which is crazy to think. But that chance encounter, I kind of forgot that I even applied, but they sent me the information back. And I said, well, a lot of people are going to Florida A&M, and at the time, things weren't working out the way it should. So I was like, maybe I should go against the grain and kind of do something different, kind of think outside the box. And, ever since that day, I've kind of been that guy, just kind of going against the grain. So that's how I ended up in Montgomery, Alabama, at Alabama State. And I do not regret it one single bit.
Really?
I honestly think that was the best thing for me. It taught me how to be a man, because I went up there, I only knew one person.
That's what I'm about to say. So you was by yourself,
By myself.
and that's what, 8-hour drive? Or?
No, it was only 2.5 hours. Well,
Okay.
2 hours 45 minutes. I say 2.5 because I put
okay.
some foot to the pedal. So I saved myself an extra 15 minutes.
So with being there alone, you said it made you a better man. What are some of the challenges, going from Florida to Alabama just from my limited knowledge of just, what's the word, Florida's kind of laid back, the beach, and although Alabama do have beaches also, but a little bit different atmosphere. I mean, that was a different transition. I mean, how did that work out?
It's very true. You're right, because when I went to Pensacola High, it was an all-black school, but when I say all-black, we still had like IB programs and health academies, so there was maybe 13% white and other nationalities. When I went to Alabama State, when I said all-black, it was all-black.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't a culture shock, but it was a positive culture shock, because I actually seen people who were progressing in the right direction.
That looked like you.
That looked like me.
Came from the same neighborhood.
Same neighborhood, same like-minded, maybe even worse neighborhoods, but they all learned and we all progress. That's why I value HBCU education so much.
When we first talked, you said that quite often. We're about to take a quick break. But when we come back, and I had my humor earlier, but now we don't get down, like you said, HBCU colleges, in my opinion, we don't talk about them enough.
Correct.
And then we don't talk about the transition. Here's a 17, 18-year-old young man leaving college, and although it was a 2-hour drive, but leaving your comfort zones,
exactly,
going to like you said, a state that I only know one person, but yet you were successful.
Right.
And when we come back, what was he doing to make it successful? You don't talk about what you went to school for, So we're gonna take a quick break. Gotta pay some bills, but when we come back, we're gonna talk to the Mr. Flight Time.
You've been into an automobile accident. I'm sure you're worried about medical bills, lost wages, and getting real compensation for your pain and suffering. But relax, I got you. I'm attorney Roderick White, and I've been fighting insurance companies since 2002. It's what I do, it's all I do. Never settle for less. Call us at 214 or 817, I got you. That's 214 or 817 446 8968.
Have you ever had a question related to child support, divorce, CPS? Call the Attorney General or maybe an attorney and they just gave you a runaround? Where do you go to get help? Contact Dads Fathers of Texas. Yes, they are child support specialists. Dads Fathers of Texas can answer your question, help file paperwork, and help find a family law attorney. Dads Fathers of Texas, making child support simple.
Alrighty, we back. Dads Father TV Network. I'm Percy sitting here having the pleasure and opportunity to talk to the host of The Porch, Mr. Fly Tie. And, for y'all who do not listen to his show on TMI Radio, I had the privilege of taping him a couple of weeks ago. And the brother got some moves on the dance chair, on the dance chair. I mean, it was pretty cool. So stay tuned. I will post those bloopers at some point, But before we left, we was talking about, the HBCU colleges, your transition from leaving Florida, being, pretty much, like you said, there by yourself, except knowing one person.
Right.
I mean, give a youngster out there who's watching this an idea of where you were leaving high school, going to where you were, and some of the things I'm going to use the word encountered while there.
Right. To put it blunt, actually, man, just to not sugarcoat it, when I came out of high school, I had as much direction as a half-broken compass. And the reason why I say that is because I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. What I knew I wanted to do, I wanted to be successful. The avenue I wanted to take is what I had to find out. And it took the perfect combination of me researching, just sitting down, figuring out who I really was, what I wanted to do, and what would benefit me in the long run. That's how I came to the conclusion of what I had to do. So if I could tell anybody that's a junior or senior in high school, when you're a junior, that's the time you should be figuring out exactly what you're good at and what you want to do. When you get to your senior year, it should be nothing but filling out applications to the best university and institutions that's going to benefit you and what you want to do. If you want to be an engineer, look up the engineering program. Of course, I'm going to mention the HBCU first. Tuskegee University or a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution, your normal university or whatnot. You can look at Florida State University or the University of Southern Mississippi. You know, if you're looking for a great theater program, you can come to Alabama State University. You also have Morehouse. And then you also have places like the University of Florida. And even if you want to leave that far, the University of Southern California has a great theater program as well. So these are just certain things that you want to look at. You know, so I would, if there's anything I can just give to a youth, that's one thing I would do, because that's something that I did not do. But you know, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
Right. So you're actually telling them to research their interest or profession in which they think they may want to get into. So basically, they'll choose a college that suit their needs versus whoever just accept it.
Exactly.
And that's an interesting way of doing that, because a lot of times people get scholarship, whether it be academic or athletic, and basically like, oh, here's the one that made me the best offer, but it may not necessarily be the best fit.
Correct.
That's interesting. So with that being said, got the dog barking. Come on over here. Come here. So with that being said, come on over here. And so with that being said, let's look at this from a different perspective. A lot of young blacks really don't think black college first.
Right.
And in your young approach at looking at things as a high school, why is that? I mean, why is it that we, as older black men, I'm gonna put myself in the category, don't push that back? Come on over here.
Well, what you're asking me is actually, you know, probably a 2-hour debate and discussion.
Right.
You know, it's a mixture of lack of knowledge. It's a mixture of lack of respect. Another part of the mixture is the lack of awareness of what HBCUs can offer. And some of it, a piece of it, is self-hate.
Do you think that's a failure on us as, I'm gonna make it personal. Do you think it's a failure on us as black males or as black race, or is it because of the media not giving it as much pub as the other predominantly, you know, white colleges?
Once again, it's a petri dish of everything that you mentioned. It's the reason why the fault could be placed on us as black males a little bit is because some of us as black males have not been in our kids' lives, and it's not necessarily our fault. Some of us have been in prison. Some of us have fallen victim to the drug epidemic back in the 80s. You know, there are certain things that has happened that has decreased our effect on the kids coming up. You understand what I'm saying? Because right now I'm a 30-year-old man. You know, the generation before me were our parents that were dealing with the crack epidemic. You know, a lot of black males, because even though the civil rights movement brought a lot of good things to us, you know, everybody still wasn't able to catch on. And so the next thing they had to do to kind of bring us down was bring in some kind of epidemic to affect the community. So here you come with the drug epidemic. You have some people who got strung out on drugs. You have some people who, you know, started distributing drugs. You understand what I'm saying? I'm still trying to figure out how somebody can rape somebody and only get 8 years. But if you have a kilo of cocaine, you're going for 45 years.
Right.
What does that make sense? Are you telling me that somebody, don't get me wrong, drug distribution is horrendous. But is that worse than somebody molesting or taking advantage of a woman against their will? Nobody in this world can tell me that that's the problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean that's the problem. But when it comes to the media as well, they probably hold more of the blame. You know what I mean? And it goes from mainstream media to just small media outlets. Even BET has decreased their value and their exposure for HBCUs. You know, back in the day, they used to, when it comes to sports, they used to televise the Circle City Classic. They used to televise the the Magic City Classic here and there. They used to televise a FAMU homecoming. Now you don't even see those things. Back then they had Team Sunday. They had certain things where you can learn about colleges and information, and we would be on the forefront. That's not there. That was our one safety valve, and that's gone now. Because if you think you're going to turn to CNN one day, and they're just going to be casually talking about, oh, well, you know what? I think you should go to North Carolina A&T because their agriculture program, along with Alabama A&M, is right there with Texas A&M University. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So there has to be a change, and there has to be the change is going to have to come from within. That's one thing I've been preaching. We can't wait for anybody else to give us anything. We have to do it ourselves.
You know, because, and me being a father, and I think sometimes we as fathers who, like you said, hit the bumpy roads.
Yeah.
But then also being part of the baby boomer generation who went through those, I'm gonna call them turbulent times where education was not as a priority. But then I'm gonna take it even further down in the South. However, for some of the people that I know that are North and East, education is almost like second nature.
Yeah.
So I guess one of my thoughts would be, sometimes it's the zone or the territory or the culture, where some people that I've met from the Philadelphia, the Connecticut, the New York area, most of those children was bred, you was going to school, but then when you move down a little bit, the Chicago's, the Michigan, Texas, we are not as gun-ho. And then I question sometimes, is it because the South was late in getting free? Is it because of our culture? I mean, like I said, it could be a 2-hour show, but there's some of the things I was thinking about. Because with that, not often do you hear on a program here in Texas where someone is saying they're pushing an CU university, but they are talking about just college.
Yeah.
You know?
And see, that's one thing, if I can just double back a little bit. You brought up an interesting point when you say people in the North, you know, your New York, your Detroit, and Chicago. What can't be understated is this. The people who live up there who are like grandparents now, where did they come from? They came from the South. They left the South for better opportunities. You understand what I'm saying?
Very interesting point.
You know, I went to school with a lot of people from Detroit, Chicago, the Bronx, Brooklyn, who said, yeah, my granny grew up in Selma. You know, my granddaddy, he lives in Birmingham. Well, I have my great aunt, she lives here in Montgomery, so I'm just staying with her so I can go to school down here. They migrated from the South up north. So it's not like the South was slow. Just like when you grow up in a certain city, in a small city, you move away to a big city, kind of like me. And I can put myself on blast a little bit myself because it's something that I struggle with every day. It's not survivor's guilt, but you know, it's something that I think about. Sometimes you migrate and you progress and you go other places to do bigger things. You know what I mean? You don't forget about where you come from, but you have to progress and you have to go off and do other things. And see, a lot of the leaders back then, well, a lot of the future leaders back then, people who marched with Dr. King, who remember the civil rights movement, and who were around any kind of movement, any kind of progress that was going on in the South, they eventually migrated north because there were the jobs were up north.
Better opportunities.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's not like the South was late. It's just everybody who were making moves in the South, they migrated north. You know what I mean? And now you have people like me who grew up in the South. You know, it takes us a little bit more time to kind of figure out what exactly we need to do and exactly what's going on.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Most definitely, because I got a couple of friends of mine who went to school here,
Yeah.
had great, what I call good jobs here, but then, for whatever reason, moved up to the East Coast and got great jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference was between a $40,000, $50,000 job here and a $250,000, $300,000 job there.
Right.
You know, and it's, although the cost of living is higher there also, but it ain't that much to where it merits, 3-4 times the difference in salary.
Right.
You know, so I agree with you on that. We're about to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to jump off into this topic a little different, from a different angle on how we utilizing the porch, how we can get the message out, if it's just one kid per show, to do something different to touch that next generation. You're watching Dad's Father TV Network on the porch with Mr. Fly Ty. Be back in a minute.
SBA Investor Ready Business Plans, written in 21 days. McDaniel Consulting is recognized as being business plan writer since 2001. Dallas Morning News, New York Times Magazine, and Women's Day Magazine attest to these facts. Business plans, 214-349-6564. That's 214-349-6564 or www.mcbusinessplans.com.
It's your boy Ray T-Boss. Tune in to DFTV, DancingFathers.tv. I'm your host, Ray T-Boss. Dallas After Dark, bringing new music, videos, the whole nine, man. Y'all stay tuned. Hey, 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 yeah.
Guys, I met my family, Dallas After Dark. Hey, this is your boy Mike, DFTV. This is the family. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, it's your boy Ray T, the host of Dallas After Dark TV. BPN, y'all stay tuned.
It's your girl Ross Henry, Dallas After Dark. Stay tuned, BPN TV, already.
Yeah, it's your partner Ness, man. Represent Trick Act to the Coolest. Y'all stay tuned, man. D-Town, what's up?
Already, and we represent Dallas After Dark. Yeah!
Welcome back to Dad's Father TV Network, and we're talking to the host of the porch, Mr. Fly Ty. It's pretty good substance, meat and potatoes, to give you an idea how deep the brother is. So you gotta tune in every Monday starting January the 4th at
6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Central Standard Time. Yeah, that's the other time, to see in the middle. And Fly Tie, I have some of the, you have some very deep subjects. I like that. And that's why when we got to talking, I said, man, I want this guy part of the network. But most importantly, what I love about it is your passion about the black schools. I just call it like it is. I just cut through the chase. For those who know me, I ain't sugarcoat. And I think my generation, your generation, we need to emphasize that more. Not just education, but our education.
Right.
It was funny, my wife and I was at the house, and she found some lady up in Canada had one of the best black history program I have ever seen.
Yeah.
We was like dumbfounded, so we like Googling her and whatever. But also, I get something from the Atlanta Tribune or something also about a lot of good black history. But I think, like you said in your previous conversation, it's part of our responsibility to make sure we pass on that knowledge, that wisdom, that they make that the first choice, then the others a second choice. And I think a lot of it comes down to money,
Yeah, it's all about passing the torch. And let me be poignant when I say this. Any education that we get as an African American race is important. If you have a full ride to the University of Texas, by all means, go ahead and do it. Because I don't know your financial situation. It'll be a great institution to attend. However, as an HBCU alumnus, it's my duty to promote and recruit what I learned and what you can learn as an African American. Because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of the history that has been taught to you, if you're 18 right now, a lot of the history that has been taught to you has been altered, and it's been molded into what you think you need to hear, or what they would like for you to hear. When it comes to historically black colleges and universities, you not only learn American history, but you're gonna learn the real American history. And real American history involves us. No matter how much they try to decrease it, it involves us. Hell whole of a lot than it is emphasized. But when it comes to education, education is very important. And the reason why I'm really an advocate for HBCUs, like I said, you get top tier education. You learn you learn your craft that you want to do professionally, but you also learn about yourself as a person. And you also learn about people that look like you, who are progressive in thought like you, and they are moving to the same things. That's something that can't be understated. You know, when I talk about myself, I came from the south side of Pensacola, Warrenton, which is one of the roughest places in Pensacola. You understand what I'm saying? And I remember I was that guy who kind of had that lost in the world thought. You know, all I know are these streets. That's all I know is this concrete street. That's all I know, man. That's all I know about this city is going to the east side, hooping, rims, riding around. That was all I thought was important. When I finally left to see what else is out there and how other people thought, it was harder to go back home and kind of stomach how everybody was still thinking. Man, by the time I got to the age of 22, 23, I was like, y'all got to come up out of this. Like, this is not what it's all about. There's no need to still be acting like we're 17 when we're 23, 24. You understand? And that's something I want us to do as a people as a whole. Because that's just not in Pensacola. That's just not in Detroit. It's just not in Memphis. It's just not in Chicago. That's something that we have to learn as a people. We have to pull our heads out of the clouds and get some focus. We can't be broken compasses anymore. You understand? That's why I say it has to come from within. Because nobody else is going to give it to us. Like you said, the Canadian lady that had one of the best Black history programs you ever seen, you know, props to her. Kudos to you, ma'am. I'm not sure if you're watching this, but it's still a travesty that she has to give us our history. We have to go look for it, and we have to go find it ourselves. And we have to want to do it. And you know, it all goes back to education. That's why I say, if you still want to go to UT, that's fine. You need to know who you are as a person, and make sure you want to improve your community or a community. You know, I'm not in Pensacola right now. I can't help Warrenton like I want to, but I'm going to help Grand Prairie like I can here in Dallas. I'm going to try to help Arlington as much as I can. If I have to go to Oak Cliff, I'll try to do my best. You understand what I'm saying? But it's all about reaching back and bringing somebody else with you. We stand on the shoulders of the people who came before us. That's been my spiel. And I mean, I didn't come out the womb like this, as I said. You know, I wasn't like this, hell, maybe 10 years ago. It's just all about progression. It's all about learning. It's all about having that focus.
You know, because and it's interesting that you said that, because like when we started the show, we talked about that transition of that 17, 18-year-old young man who took that journey. Then he took that, I'm gonna use the word evolution. You know,
Great word.
you know, I'm gonna use the word evolution because you really did evolution. Can't have another word to put it there.
Right,
You know?
it's not done yet. It's a work in progress.
But you can see in the transition of where you were, then going back to it after a time period of being gone, you clearly saw, I'm going to say, the few roadblocks or thinking errors that hold some of us young men back. But then obviously you was able to overcome it. But I guess my question would be, I'm kind of like you. I came from a different side of town, to where most people see it as the street, or they call it the block, or high-risk neighborhoods, or high-crime areas. And we all have our little thin line of insanity, but we also have a thin line of brilliance.
Right. It's a very thin line.
That's a very thin line.
I told it. I tow it every day. I tow it every day.
You know, and the good thing about it is that one thing that triggered you to cross over to brilliance the one thing that triggered me to take that plunge into trying to be the best, I think it came down to one thing for me. Is I saw someone else that looked like me do it.
Exactly.
You know, and one of the person, excluding my father, that I observed was the first black millionaire to come out of my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, hold up. You know, this is the block. And this man became a millionaire, and he wasn't selling drugs.
Right.
He came legal money. Now, granted, I ain't never sold drugs. I ain't never used drugs. I drink sometimes. But to see a man on my corner with an education from a historically black college and university,
Right.
to become the first millionaire during a time that blackness was not exactly the most popular. I mean, it goes back to say we have to be more of a role model, utilizing the porch, utilizing our community activities to let these young, you know, black children,
Yeah.
I'm going to say boys, but black children, understand there's a dual history out there.
Yeah.
You got what they want you to know, and then, as we used to say, the real deal Holyfield.
Exactly.
Is what you need to know. And I encourage you, there's a lot of technology, so do your research. You know, when I look back, and I love it, my wife and I be at home sometime, and something pop up on my phone, and my wife is an avid reader. I'm not. I'm getting better at it, but I'm not. But then she'll go get the book, and I catch myself during me time checking it out. And then, I mean, it's addictive.
Yeah.
Because once you start learning our true history, it's a wrap.
Exactly.
I mean, we are some of the most innovative, creative, most powerful creature beings bar none ever created.
Exactly.
You know, it was funny back when I was a young man, speaking of transition, my grandfather told me one time, one of the most dangerous creatures on earth is an intelligent black man. He said because he rose from the adversities of the street, he got the education of those who tried to hold him down, and he's fearless.
My grandfather told me the same
Thing. You know, and with that, if I can think like you, but I have the heart of a lion,
Yeah. See, they ain't scared of this. They're not scared of 45s. They're scared of this.
yep,
That's why I say this.
lethal weapon.
This here is the best weapon I got. Now don't get me wrong. I could, you know, I can break a jaw too. I can fracture a face. But I can fracture your entire being with this here. Cerebral assassin is where it's at.
I like that word. Use that again.
The cerebral assassin.
So I can't even say it, I let him say it, but you know, and the interesting thing about it is that's what makes us so intimidating.
Yeah.
And I use the word us because those of us who chose to take that effort to get that higher education. I didn't go to a 4-year college.
Yeah.
Didn't do it. But I took more than and have done more than 10,000 hours of family study, family research, mediation, arbitration. And for that reason, it's not many people who went to the 6-year college that's got that number to say bar next to it can out litigate me, although I can't litigate in a court.
Yeah.
But if we sit across each other from a table, you better pack your lunch.
Exactly.
Because, and I'm not saying that to be bragging, but when we get ourselves into a passion, we're good.
Exactly.
We're very good because we know we have to be twice, if not 3 or 4 times better than the other person across the table to even get recognized.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we're so accustomed to just, you know, not only just putting together a proposal or putting together a strategy or putting together an opportunity, we're superseding it tenfold because we know if we don't, they're going to find flaw in it.
That's right.
So, I mean, it's a very interesting point. But
And let me tell you this, man. I know we've been getting deep. We've been talking, you know, I almost broke a sweat.
yeah,
You know,
I'm sweating under my arm. I'm getting all passionate over here.
Fiery got in here because you know it's a deep rooted hot topic for
Right.
both of us. But you know what? We gonna talk about some more lighthearted stuff.
Some lighthearted stuff.
We're gonna talk about some lighthearted stuff.
All right, well, we're going to take a break. I need some water. Did I say it right?
Water,
Water?
water. Almost same thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a question related to child support, divorce, CPS? Call the Attorney General or maybe an attorney and they just gave you a runaround, where do you go to get help? Contact Dads Fathers of Texas. Yes, they are child support specialists. Dads Fathers of Texas can answer your question, help file paperwork, and help find a family law attorney. Dads Fathers of Texas, making child support simple.
SBA Investor Ready Business Plans, written in 21 days. McDaniel Consulting is recognized as being business plan writer since 2001. Dallas Morning News, New York Times Magazine, and Women's Day Magazine attest to these facts. Business plans, 214-349-6564. That's 214-349-6564 or www.mcbusinessplans.com.
What's good, everybody? This is your boy Fly Tie. You know what I'm saying? I'm in here with Mr. Mike, and we are back right here live on the porch. Yeah, I bought it in this time. Because I want to let you guys know, man, we have spirited topics on the porch, like we had earlier in the show, talking about HBCUs and things like that. But you know, with the porch, you get a cornucopia of different things, man. I like to mix it up. I love to make it entertaining. You know, we have our serious topics, but we also have our lighthearted topics. I talk about sports, music. People get a little bit ignorant sometimes. Yes, I say ignorant with an E, E-G-N-A-N-T. So we keep it ignorant a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, man, on the porch, we're talking about different things. It's geared to keep your entertainment, and it's geared to keep your focus. Because sometimes hearing the same thing for an hour and a half, 2 hours, it gets kind of redundant to you. So we want to keep it fresh, something new, and something that'll keep you guys engaged. You know, such as music. On my last radio show, which comes on tmiradio.com, the second and fourth Tuesday of the month from 5:30 to 7 Central Standard Time, of course, we were talking about the Billboard list that came out of the 10 best rappers of all time. It had your normals on there. It had your Biggie, your Jay-Z, your Nas, your Rakim. It had Eminem on there. It had 3 Stacks. All of that's cool. The last 4 is what kind of got the studio heated. You know, you had Lauryn Hill.
As you see the insert right next to it.
Exactly. And you had Lauryn Hill, which, don't get me wrong, she's a great artist. But when we talk about top 10 rappers, can't be there. Then you have your Ghostface, then Kendrick and Lil Wayne rounded out the top 10. Now, I'm of the subset of people. I won't say a subset. The great majority that says Kendrick is going to be top 5, maybe even top 3 before it's all said and done. But right now, we can't put him on there just yet. Now, in terms of current day rap, he's number 1. You know, him and J. Cole. Kendrick is 1A, Cole is 1B. And after that, you can put anybody else that you want to. That's just like with sports. When it comes to the best athlete, I always say Jim Brown, Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson, whoever the hell else you can go find.
Orthopedic.
I'm talking about all-around athletes.
All around athletes.
Like 2 sports. And
to go both ways.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Like 2 sports. Okay.
Exactly. But just to keep it with music, man, Ghostface, I respect the woo. Let me say that, I respect the woo. I just don't know if he's just top 10 of all time. You know, and as I'm telling you this, I'm going to give you people that I'm going to replace them with. Number 10, Lil Wayne. Don't get me wrong, I grew up a Cash Money fan, original Cash Money. Let me say that. I'm talking about back when Juvenile came out with Soldier Rags. I don't think some of y'all know about that, but go Google it and do your research a little bit. But I'm talking about Hot Boys Lil Wayne. 10 greatest of all time. I look at his effect now. And the effect he has on music now isn't really a positive effect. Because I look at some of the people he's birthed, you know, over the past few years, which would be a Young Thug, Rich Homie Quan, people like that. I think that's enough said right there. When it comes to that top 10 list, one thing we really had a debate on, the consensus was this. If you listen to all those people I named, out of those 10 people, do you know who was missing?
Well, since I'm not that deep in rap, a lot of them are missing in my head.
Okay. Well, this guy, he was a bald-headed gentleman. He rapped on the West Coast. Bought out.
Oh, Tupac.
Yeah.
Tupac.
Billboard didn't have him on the list. When I first saw the list, it was immediately invalid in 0.2 seconds.
Yeah. But
How do you make a rap list of the top 10 rappers of all time
and
without
Tupac,
Shakur?
right. Or Snoop.
He's automatically in the top 3.
Or LL.
Automatically in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, for one thing, first of all, let's go with to go with an accounting term, first in, first out. First out would be Lauryn Hill. First in would be Tupac.
Right.
All right. If we're taking off Ghostface, I'm putting on Cube. I'm putting on Cube for his writing abilities and his rapping abilities, and he has the ability to stand the test of time, his longevity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting Ice Cube on there. I'm putting KRS-One on the list as well. So let me back up. I'm taking off Lauren. I'm taking off Ghostface. I'm taking off Wayne. I'm taking off Kendrick. I love you, Kendrick. Can't push on that just yet. So who's going on there right now? I have KRS-One,
Okay.
who dropped hella knowledge. Ice Cube, the poet. We're putting Tupac on there, one of the 2 best of all time. The other person I would put on there would be LL Cool J.
There you go.
Because LL Cool J helped bring rap from a solo aspect to the hood and from the hood, and he even got the ladies on his side. Fellas, let me tell you something. When you get the ladies on your side, you are damn near invincible. If you have just a little bit of respect in the streets, that's cool. If you get the ladies on your side, it's a wrap. Just like if you're doing club promotions, I don't care what dudes you say about it. You tell, for every one dude you tell, you need to go tell 5 women that you have a party. That's low key intel for the publicity world. But there you go. You're welcome. But yeah, so that would be the top 10, and of course in the studio you have some people bringing up their personal favorites. Some people saying Snoop. Somebody said DJ Quick. I was like, okay, now you're just going a little too far. But Snoop, honorable mention. But when it comes to those 10, those are the 10 that they should have had on the list. You know what I mean? Give or take a few. I mean, the thing with making personal rap lists, we're making an all-time list regardless. Are you doing it by record sales? Are you doing it by influence? Are you doing it by, transcending the game? These are different things you have to look at. So it really can't be answered in just one list. Unless you just have everything just concretely defined. And even when you do, somebody's going to have a problem with it. Because even with my personal top 10 list, because I grew up during a different era, but I have different things that move me. Because I've told you, I'm an interesting person. Remember we said you walk the fine line between brilliance and insanity?
There you go.
I told that line as well. But I also told a line in between conscious music, lyricism, and just getting stuff crunk.
See, and I've never been big in rap,
Yeah.
but you hit the nail on the head. I love musical messages,
Exactly.
which is why I love Tupac.
Exactly.
But I also like the floetry side of music because they're talking a message or they're telling a story.
Exactly.
And then if you're looking at that, that's what influenced me with music, which is probably why I like the R&B, old school R&B music.
Yeah.
But when you was talking about the top 10, a lot of those artists I'm not as familiar with
Right.
by name and what they've done. But that's the one that I like most because like I just recently downloaded the greatest hits of Tupac.
Right.
I mean, and those who know me, they're like,
I have that. Well, I had it. It got stolen out of my Chevrolet.
that's the
when I
one
was
with
in
what, 22 songs on it or something like that?
Yes.
And to me, each song has a different message.
college. It does.
And that's what I like about it. But then lately, what I've been looking at is some of the newer artists. I listened to, what's his name, the light-skinned guy, Drake or Dre or whatever. He's okay, the little short guy with all the tattoos. He alright, But
Let me give you something. Let me give you something to go for. Kendrick Lamar,
Kendrick Lamar.
J. Cole,
I actually just bought some by J. Cole.
J.
Called
2014 Forest Hills Drive.
Now the one about daydreaming,
Daydreaming.
J. Cole did something about daydreaming or something.
I'm not sure. I have to check that.
I have to, during the break, I'll bring it.
Dreamville? Was it Dreamville?
I'll play it on the break. I can't play it on the air. They gave us rights to play it, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So J. Cole, what's the other one?
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
You know, and I would say check out Big Sean also.
Big Sean, I ain't never heard of that one. Okay,
Check out
Big
Big
Sean.
Sean. Now, before we run out of time, man, I'm gonna give you my personal top 10 list. Because I didn't do, and this is an exclusive. Because I didn't do this on my radio show. I'm gonna give DFTV an exclusive of my top 10. I want you to count me off now.
All right.
And this isn't in any particular order. I'm just giving you my top 10. This is
Number 10.
and it's still better than the Billboard, so you don't have to worry about anybody crazy being in there. So,
10?
yeah. So, like I said, this isn't in
Not necessarily
order.
in the order of, but just
Right.
10 people
Right.
that you feel should have been on the list.
Correct.
10,
So we got Biggie,
9,
Pop,
8,
Jay-Z,
7,
Kanye,
6,
Tip,
5,
Common,
4,
Young Jeezy,
3,
Nas,
2,
the incredible Andre 3000.
and 1.
See, it's always such a tough one. It's always such a tough one, man. You know,
DJ Monkey might love
hey, I'm gonna keep it southern, man. Put Big Boy on that, man. Put the whole Outcast on there.
The whole Outcast.
The entire
Now, here you go.
Outkast.
Here's the question for the break.
All right.
Of all the 10 people you named, who, in your opinion, could be the most influential when it comes to their words,
Influential?
lyrics? Yeah, I don't want to speak and say that at the same time. So, who is the one that dropped the most knowledge, musical message that I would appreciate as someone who likes musical words? Then I go out and get this CD.
Common.
Comment.
Yeah.
You heard it. That's his top 10. So now, during the break, I'm gonna grab my phone and what is it? iPhone it or iP it or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry. I got it. You're watching The Porch. You got Fly Tie. Of course, me, Mike. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
If you've been into an automobile accident, I'm sure you're worried about medical bills, lost wages, and getting real compensation for your pain and suffering. But relax, I got you. I'm attorney Roderick White, and I've been fighting insurance companies since 2002. It's what I do, it's all I do. Never settle for less. Call us at 214 or 817, I got you. That's 214 or 817 446 8968.
All right. Well, we're back on The Porch, and I got what's it called?
Common, Nobody's Smiling.
So I'm just gonna pick a song out here that I think is like. What about "Speak My Peace"? Is that
My
good?
piece is cool. Get it. I would say get Kingdom.
What is it?
Download
Oh, Kingdom. So that's just. This is what he likes. Let's see what it say. On the porch.
If you pay attention to what he's saying, man, he's saying it from a third party perspective of how street violence is going on.
Right.
And when he alludes to the keys, he's saying the same keys that, that people are getting shot over for in the street can be the same keys that lock you away in jail. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Wow.
And, even if you don't get put in jail, the other set of keys are the keys to the kingdom, which could be which means, death by the streets.
Wow.
So,
Well, I'm going to play one of my guys, of course, the one we talked about,
okay.
and to see the one that I think I like. And number one, we're not endorsing any of these guys. This is our musical conversation on the porch.
Right.
And interesting enough, the one I like, that is too funny. Where is it? You're gonna laugh when you see it. Where is it?
Is it No More Pain?
Nah, it's gonna be just a little surprise you. Talk about him. Let me look at this. I ain't got my glasses on either.
He said he was gonna surprise me.
Yeah, I was
if he would have
surprised.
doing No More Pain, I was be like, man, Mr. Mike got a side to him that we don't know about. I'm about to step outside. But nah, man, while he's finding the song, just make sure you check out Fly Town The Porch, man. I can be found on Facebook under the name The Porch. You found it?
I found it.
Cool. Twitter and Instagram at the Porch_TMI is where I can be reached, man.
Or you can go to Dads and Fathers TV Network, go to the Porch page, and all this stuff is right there.
Boom. One-stop shop.
DFTV makes it simple for you. Now, my song. Let me see, can you recognize it? You ready?
Okay, go ahead.
You know why I like that song? Check out the first part. Although it's hard rap,
Yeah,
and I'm not big on hard rap, the musical message is real simple.
it's a message.
It's a message.
And see, that's the thing. That's why I kind of have a. I'm not gonna stop listening to hip hop. What I do now, I have to pick and choose who I listen to, because right now hip hop. Well, I won't say hip hop. Rap is breaking my heart. So I have to go and kind of search for like true hip hop. You know, one guy who's not one guy, but two guys who are kind of underground, you know, so to say, would be Killer Mike and a guy named LP. They have a group called Run the Jewels, and they bought out 2 albums over the past 4 years. Those 2 albums are better than some of the Main Street albums, but outside of Kendrick, Cole, and Big Sean. They probably have in Big Boy. Those are probably the best albums that a lot of people have never heard. So if I could just give, you know, some advice, go check out Run the Jewels. That's Killer Mike and EP and LP. I'm sorry, I ain't even mentioned your name. I want to call it LP and Killer Mike Run the Jewels, man. They have two albums out. You know what I mean? Go check those out. Run the Jewels 1 is my joint. I was just playing that as I was coming up here. My favorite track is Get It. So when you hear it, you need to listen to it. Remember that.
I was trying to find the Kendrick thing, so.
When you get it, it's Kendrick Lamar to Pimp a Butterfly. You have to get the entire CD. It's like probably $9.99 now. It's probably gonna be one of the best $10 you spend on music.
Check it out, Kendrick Lamar.
Listen to it. Listen to the whole thing. It's a concept album. If you just try to listen to it, be like, I like this song. I think I might like this song.
Like
You're
Nick.
not gonna get it.
Okay. And see, the good thing about it, what I love about it, is
Yeah.
like musical message.
Right.
Because I although I listen to a lot of jazz, you know, but when I'm in that, like you said, that other side of me,
Yeah.
you know, when you're driving a little fast and maybe doing something slightly illegal while you're driving, you know, that's it on there.
I mean, you can say it, but you know.
Or like you do on the porch in the
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah,
How's
you
that?
can say it. We don't
No.
advise it.
No.
We don't advise it at all.
But you know, some days I have my little youthful side,
Right.
and I actually throw on a little rap music, especially if I'm sitting out in the backyard. You know, you got the grill going, and you know, jazz right that time. You know,
Right.
I bring up something like I said, the old Tupac, the old Snoop, some of the LL. But you know, I'm still in the South, so every now and then I go to the dirty South.
Yeah.
There's, you know, what's it called, a scratch and scrooge or whatever it's called.
Chop and screw.
Chop and screw, you know.
Yeah.
Well, y'all know I'm messing up some stuff over here. But my boy, I said boy name, not Eminem, the other one, Paul Wall.
Paul Wall.
Paul Wall.
Paul Wall.
You know, and then I throw a little, what's the Jones? Mike
Mike
Jones,
Jones.
you know. So every now and then I'll throw those in. And like I said, I'm not endorsing those guys, but hey, that's just my choice when I cross over to the other style of music.
I give you another one for Chop and Screw. You know, if you want to take it back, Chameleonaire.
Oh, millionaire.
And
I was actually
Dirty
bumping
South
them there.
Riders, Dallas's own Dirty South Riders.
Yep, so, you know, on this same segment of DFTV, we got Dallas After Dark, which feature all types of artists.
I know.
You know, so when you guys finish watching The Porch, stay tuned because Dallas After Dark, and we're staying what we're gonna see on that show, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We might just join the show later on anyway, just to be doing it because we can, right?
Right on.
But since we're talking about music in the Dirty South,
Right.
you know. But my thing is, you can see we, as brothers from another mothers, you know,
Right.
not only do we have the education,
Yes.
we have the passion,
Right.
we have the ability to make major changes
Say it.
if we choose.
Correct.
Correct word is if we choose and make the commitment.
And we need to make that decision soon. It's
And
imperative.
It's imperative. So with that, we have to understand, young men, and y'all know me, I get on my soapbox, so I know he took me off my soapbox. Let me get on my soapbox for 2 minutes.
Go ahead, man.
Here's what it is. Old school Mike. My deal is real simple. Get your education, know where you come from, like you say, represent your hood, but understand where you come from. If you know your history, where you come from, you can truly define where you're headed. Because without the proper foundation, you're easy to fall for anything. I mean, this guy right here, he don't realize why I pursued him, but it's his knowledge. Here's a young man, I think he said you're 30.
Yeah.
You're younger than my oldest son. You're younger than my daughter. But then when I listen to his show, the brother brings some good knowledge.
Thank
You know, and I like that, and I approached him and said, dude, I want you on the network. Even before I created the network, he was the first person I talked to, because if you want wisdom, black and white wisdom, just straight, unedited, you gotta catch him on the porch on TMI radio. Being on television, we have edited it down a little bit. But the main thing is he promotes the appropriate colleges for your culture and knowledge and wisdom and understanding. But also, he supports education.
Right.
But if something stupid happened in the news, and I know my wife heard it, hey, I used the word stupid, but sorry, honey. But anyway, he also go after that as well. My thing is, by listening to The Porch on TMI radio, by watching The Porch on DFTV and BPN, the young man is going to bring 2 generations of knowledge. His generation and the generation you need to know. Because historically black colleges and universities, they're not exactly on the top media to talk about lists.
Right.
But by the same token, like you said, here's HBCU right here. And it was a choice he made. You could have probably went to any college as you chose. Like you said, you was placing applications.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't by chance, although you said, that you went to where you went.
Yeah.
It was just, well, we ain't gonna get off of that side of my personality. But my thing is, right now, we've been talking about music. Every music we talked about was a musical message.
Right.
You know, everything behind it wasn't just killing babies and blowing somebody up in the streets and all that. It was a message. Yeah, the words was a little rough, but at the end of the day, you understood it.
Exactly.
You know, we're gonna take another break. When we come back, he's gonna talk about something else. I'm gonna be here with him. And you're on the porch.
Hey, this your girl Rub TV. Y'all tune in to DFTV. It's going down on Dallas After Dark. Y'all stay tuned. It's coming down already.
What it do, man? It's your boy Ray T-Boss. You're tuning in to DFTV, DancingFathers.tv. I'm your host, Ray T-Boss. Dallas After Dark, bringing new music, video, the whole nine, man. Y'all stay tuned. Hey, 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 yeah.
Guys, I met my family, Dallas After Dark. Hey, this is your boy Mike, DFTV. This is the family. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, it's your boy Ray T, the host of Dallas After Dark TV, BPN. Y'all stay tuned.
It's your girl Rub TV. Dallas After Dark. Stay tuned. BPN TV already.
Yeah, it's your partner Ness, man. Represent Trick Act to the Fools. Y'all stay tuned, man. D-Town, what's up?
Already, and we represent Dallas After Dark. Yeah!
Well, welcome back to the porch. If y'all could hear our conversation off the air. Now, hold on. on the radio show is different than television. You gotta listen to TMI Radio, second and fourth Tuesdays, 5:30.
Yeah.
5:30 to 7. You got a segment on there called the what?
The Interpreter.
I didn't tape it. that's how interesting it is. But give them an idea. What is the Interpreter?
Okay, so basically the Interpreter is a segment that I have. It's where I have user submitted questions, listener submitted questions. You submit a question to me that has, normal, very vast language in it. And I do the interpretations in a hooder yet simpler version.
Tell you what, right now I'm going on the air, since I'm the program owner.
Okay.
What's it called?
The Interpreter.
Go to the Porch. So it's the Porch at dadandfather.tv. In the subject line put the Interpreter.
The Interpreter.
He's gonna pick and choose, and then each week he's gonna scale it down a little bit. But if you want to hear the raw version, you gotta listen to him on the radio.
Yeah.
But on each week he's gonna take one letter sent in, the Porch at dadsandfather.tv. You'll see it at the bottom of the screen. The Porch at dadsandfather.tv. On the subject line, you put the Interpreter and then hit your question. And Mr. Flytie. So now go and share some of that from, what was it, Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Keep it mellow, but share it.
Okay, so one of the questions, just to in context, it was this. So somebody gave me the statement that my friend, the young lady who you seek cohabitation and affiliation with, has been promiscuous, and I have the ocular proof and verified intel on this. I suggest that you disperse and terminate any communication with her that you have at the present time. My interpretation would be she's a garden tool and you need to let her go. That was one of the questions that the interpreter
Right. So, with that, write your intelligent question letter and watch how he, we don't call it translated.
Yeah.
Going from English to Ebonics,
Basically hood translation.
Yeah.
Much.
We got a lot. I mean, what's the dictionary say? Was it Urban Dictionary?
The Urban Dictionary.
Right.
Yeah, right now you're looking at the walking
the Porch version of it.
I'm a thesaurus and Urban Dictionary walking.
So the Porch at dadsandfather.tv, subject line, the Interpreter. Now I may have to black out some of the answers, but send that in, and we may, do they call the name on there? What do you do with that?
No.
Oh, you don't know. All right, so
they're anonymous.
They're anonymous.
Yes.
So go out to the website, send it over, and in the last few minutes of the show, we're gonna try that out. Make sure the FCC don't throw us off the air.
Hopefully not. We good people. We're good people.
But see, the good thing about On the Porch, I think it's on your thing is like you come straight, you're raw, you're telling the truth, and you got 3 segments: sports,
music.
Music.
I mean, we have rotating things as well. Sometimes it's going to be education. Sometimes we're going to be talking about current events. We may talk about social action, but I also always have a segment in there, a fun segment. Like I said, the Interpreter. We also have a segment called Where's the Love, where we have a studio guest in there talking about his love life and his struggles as a single man. Then we also have, new segments coming down the pipeline. Also one called Who Said That, where I recite rap lyrics from old rap songs and you have to guess the artist and the song.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
You know what? When you do that, we're going to give away tickets and passes and invite you to the live studio so you'll be able to come on camera and see is your answer correct. Mm-hmm. Not too bad, huh?
Right.
There you go. So stay tuned to the Porch. And remember, I'm looking forward to the Porch. Send in your emails because the brother's intelligent. I love this guy. I mean, he's the very first one I picked before I started the DFTV network. And you see why now. He's opinionated. Love his music. You can hear him do his picks. Right below the music pick, it was his sports picks.
Yeah.
And I think you did, 50%? 40%?
So with the college, some is a little bit about the college. So I was a little off base. for my college football playoff, I had Clemson. Clemson was the only one who survived. I had TCU, who died off. I had Georgia, who was dead 2 months ago in terms of the playoff. And I had who did I have?
I know y'all had a big conversation about Grambling on there.
I didn't have the Pac-12 in it, so it was the SEC, the Big Ten, or I had Ohio State, who almost made it. But I did give myself a security blanket, because I said if Ohio State beats Michigan State, then they'll do it. But I'm not too strong on it. And lo and behold, Michigan State did beat Ohio State. So I got to get kind of small credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, when it came to the Final Four, I only got one glimpse.
Now, we got a couple minutes for this to go off the air. You guys had a very, I'm going to say, extended conversation about some Grambling conversation I kind of walked in on. Huh?
Oh, man. So
now, who's from Grambling in the studio?
So at TMRradio.com, the CEO, Kevin Hopwood, he is a Gramblinite. He and the co-hosts, actually both of the hosts for the Online Happy Hour, Andy Brown and J.R. Reed, all three of them attended Grambling and graduated. So Grambling was 9-0 in the SWAC, which is the Southwestern Athletic Conference, the HBCU conference. So they went 9-0 for the entire season. So when they got to the championship game, they had a rematch with Alcorn State, who they beat during the season, but it was in overtime on a block PAT at Alcorn State's homecoming. So think about all that I just said. They beat them on homecoming. It was about 1 point off a block extra point. It doesn't mean that they got dominated or they dominated them. Keep that in mind. So they played Alcorn in Houston 2 weeks ago? Last week, I'm sorry. And Alcorn State dropped them Fifth Ward Bees on Grambling down in Houston. And they won the SWAC. They went back to back. You know, there's a few things in my life I didn't think I'd say. And Alcorn State back-to-back SWAC champs is something that I really didn't think I'd say. Other than being, you know, hi, my name is Tyrone, I'm a white man. Saying Alcorn State was going to be back-to-back SWAC champs is something that I probably didn't think I'd say, but it happened. But, you know, all props to Alcorn State. You know, they won the SWAC championship, and they're going to play the Celebration Bowl against North Carolina A&T on December the 19th, next Saturday. The game will be on ABC, televised ESPN. Sports Center is actually going to do coverage from there, and the game is at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Alcorn State win for the SWAC, but next year you won't be there because it'll be the Alabama State Hornets representing the SWAC next year. Yeah. State, we'll be back in it, man.
Well, tell you what, brother, it's been good co-sharing your show with you.
Thank you.
It's the only time you'll see me on the show. Well, I'm not going to say the only time, you know.
Right.
Most of the time I'll be behind the camera, but I had to sit down, let you guys know who this man is, why I'm so happy he's part of the DFT network. Again, go out to the site, drop your questions. As you can see, sports, music, he's passionate about. The new stuff I'm looking forward to. The interpreter, I'm really looking forward to, you know. I appreciate you guys tuning in on us. Stay tuned to BPN starting January the 4th, channel 30.8. The Porch will be on at 6 o'clock Central Time. I appreciate you. And we'll see you next week.